What's up guys, Sam here and welcome back to Samcraft. You are in a very different space that I don't think you have ever been, at least on this channel. This is my home office and this is a small 6 foot deep, 15 foot wide, used to be a closet turned home office slash makerspace. Well, in today's video, if it doesn't give it away, this guy, my eufyMake E1 UV printer, gets moved out of the shop and in here. However, the biggest portion of this video, and probably what I will point the search engine gurus to and hopefully get some traffic, is I have to install a hole through the wall of our house to exhaust the fumes. So in this video, I'll bring you guys along for the move, but most importantly, how to add an exhaust in a room when you don't have a window and you don't have another way to do it. I'll show you how, show you all the tools, steps, complete process, and in the end, show you setting up this new in-house UV printing station. To kickstart this video, we're going to go back a day or two and we're going to tackle the actual wall penetration of installing a 4-inch dryer vent through the wall of our house to eventually hook this up to. So come with me for all the tools, the material, and the technical know-how, how to go through the wall, to put the proper flashing in place with vinyl siding, seal it up properly and everything, so we can then take the next step, and probably the more fun step, which is putting this machine into place. Here's a look at the specific tools and materials that I purchased for this particular project. It all starts up here at the top right. This is a 4-inch dryer duct vent, or a dryer vent. And since our home has vinyl siding, this is a model that is designed to be installed with vinyl siding. The white piece and the darker gray piece separate. It allows you to install it correctly through siding and then have proper overlap and flashing for weather. Speaking of flashing, the next thing I purchased is some flashing tape. This is going to go outside and seal up the portion where the dryer vent attaches to our home's underlayment underneath the vinyl siding. Also, since we're working with vinyl siding, I purchased this little black and red tool here in the middle. This is a vinyl siding removal tool. It's going to allow me to easily pop the siding apart without damaging it, work in the area, and then put it back safely. As far as drilling holes through the house, we have two different drill bits that we're dealing with. The larger black one here at the bottom is a 1/4 inch diameter, 12-inch long drill bit. I'm going to be using it as a pilot bit to drill from the inside of the home through to the outside. And then for the big majority of the drilling, I have a 4.5-inch hole saw purchased right here. That's what's actually going to drill through the drywall, the exterior sheathing, the siding, and everything else to open it up for the 4-inch dryer duct to be installed through our wall. In addition to the materials here, I'm going to be using a variety of traditional tools that any DIYer should have. Things such as a drill and a driver to actually run the hole saw and the drill bit. Probably some screws and a way to attach those, some snips or scissors for cutting the siding, and stuff like that. But as far as specific things you may not have on hand for this project, these right here were the ones that I could think of. There's a look at the tools that I specifically purchased. Now let's go into my home office and show you guys where I'm putting a hole through the wall. All right, so in my very small home office, this room is only about 6 feet wide and about 15 feet long. I have very few options on where to actually install a vent. I only have 2 exterior walls in here. This one right here being the main one. So this whole light gray wall is exterior, and so is that darker one down at the end. Now, given I have the doorway and some 3D printers right there, I don't plan on adding the machinery over there to vent through that wall. And then here on the long wall, for the majority of it, I don't think it's going to work out. So after looking at the space, looking at my furniture, and considering what I need to add to give myself a small little workbench to put a laser or UV printer in here, this dark wall is where I'm going to put that table. So that means my vent is going to go through this wall as close as I can get to that wall. Is this making any sense? Anyway, it's going to be on this wall close to the end, and I need to decide, do I want it low or do I want it high? Now, the best thing to do from a fume extraction, smoke likes to rise, is to put it high. But that's going to be really ugly, terribly ugly. So what I want to do is choose the one that is less visible, less prominent in the room, and put it down low. This is a manufactured home, and so we have these special little all-in-one outlets in our walls, which are terrible, except for this one time when it is a huge benefit. I'm going to remove the outlet that's down here close to where I'm going to be putting my vent, so that I can put my hand in the wall cavity and inspect for any kind of wires or things in the wall that I don't expect to be there. I'm doing that before I drill my holes to hopefully prevent myself a lot of headache and trouble down the line. So using my pilot bit, I'm going to place it right here, say a little prayer, and drill through the house. After this, there's no going back. There we go, that's it. Let's go outside and see what damage we've done. Well, I've done it now. There we have our hole, and it's a pretty good spot. I didn't really come out here to double check to begin with, but honestly, not bad. All right, let's do some work out here while we are out here. The first thing I want to do is go ahead and put my 4-inch hole saw right here and drill through at least the siding, if not also the OSB sheathing of the home. Then I'll start to pull the siding apart. But while it's here and together, I want to go ahead and do my hole saw first. All right, now we are through the siding and the sheathing, and we have better access to what we've done. Using my siding removal tool, I started where one of my joints on my siding is, and I'm working over to the left, carefully pulling apart the two pieces at their joint. I think that's as far as I'm going to take it for now. I have full access behind it, but I don't want to pull it off too much more. All right, so I'm going to fit my dryer vent piece in here behind the siding. I need to see if I can pull this bottom piece of siding forward to fit this trim over top of it, but I've run into my first little hurdle, which is going to be kind of hard to show you on camera. See that black marker line that I drew? That's a section of the siding I need to cut away so that my dryer flange will rest evenly and flat against the sheathing of the home. So I'm just kind of following my black mark as best I can with the snips, going from the center to the left and now the center to the right to join up with the first little cuts that I made. Just like that. Perfect. Now we've got good clearance. This is flush against the OSB sheathing of the home. It's not binding the siding at all because vinyl siding moves with temperature changes, so it's not right up against it. Looks good, and I think that is all I need to do as far as trimming. If you notice, there is some small little lines on this flange, and it says end of siding. End of siding. It's on all 4 sides. What that is telling me is I want my siding to come up but stop right there and have what looks to be maybe a 3/8 of an inch reveal all around. So what I need to do is translate these lines to my actual siding piece to cut. Thankfully, all of the screw hole slots end right where that perimeter is. So if I put this back in place and I hold it nice and square, I should be able to put a dot on my siding, and then all I have to do is connect my dots. There we go, we have dots here, there, at my 4 corners. So all I need to do is draw a line, connect these, cut out my square, and I should have the proper reveal trimmed of my siding for this piece to go behind it. All right, so I started off with my metal snips, but then I remembered this wonderful thing called a utility knife, and it is so much easier and a cleaner results with cutting vinyl. So as long as you're okay with using these and you're careful, because it's easy to cut yourself with these, this would be the better tool for the job. All right, let's do a little test fit here. I've trimmed away some siding. Let's see if I need to go more or if I've gone far enough. It's always easier to take more off. It's not very easy to put it back on. All right, my reveal looks good left and right, and on the bottom, the top is a little bit close. I actually think maybe some of this bottom siding is still fighting me. Let me trim this bottom off a little bit more first. Okay, yeah, that bottom piece is what was holding me up, so good. I'm glad I didn't just trim the top blindly, assuming that that was it, because that is much, much better. Awesome. Well, I may clean this up just a little bit. It droops down a little bit close to the edge. But honestly, my next thing to do is to go inside and drill the hole through the drywall. Go ahead and get the insulation moved out of the way. And then we'll come back out here and we'll begin screwing this to the wall and flashing it out to seal it up from the weather. All right, the inside hole has been drilled out. So now I'm going to take my utility knife and I'm going to cut through the insulation, trying to create a hole and not just pull it from top, bottom, left, or right. I want to retain my insulation value around this space. So this is one of those times where you just got to get handsy. You just got to get your hands in it and just have fun, I guess. But I'm going all the way through into my office, have my hand through the wall, and now I'm just widening out the insulation, not going too far, but far enough to where it has clearance for the pipe to stick through the wall. The next thing I'll do is to attach the two sections of my dryer vent together. This metal pipe has some flanges. They correlate with tabs, at least with this model that I have. So I'm going to line it up with those, get it worked together, and push it until it clicks into place, connecting the two pieces together. Now what I'm going to do is take some 100% silicone sealant, and I'm going to put it around the right side, the top side, and the left side of this flange, leaving the bottom unsealed. That way if any water gets back here, it has a way to get out. I'll put the sealant on and then smush it into place right up there next to the house wrap. I just cut a piece of this frog tape, flashing tape, and I'm gonna put it in. I'll do the left side, the right side, and then the top. This will be hard to film, just like most of this interior work here behind the siding, but that is at least what I'm doing. Left, right, top. Trying my best to let you guys see how much of the flashing tape was put on there, how the left side, the right side is done, and the top. So this guy is fully sealed up from all the weather. Last thing to do out here is go ahead and reattach the siding, which is just as easy as popping it on. And then we'll put on our trim piece and we're done out here. There we go. You have to love vinyl siding for that ease of use. Last piece and the crowning touch is this outside piece, but also acts as a little weather stripping and trim. It just slots over the piece, has a few little tabs. You get it lined up and you push it into place. And just like that, we are totally done with this outdoor install. And honestly, if you guys weren't here for the process, you wouldn't know that this is not for a clothes dryer, but for a laser or UV printer inside a home office. The last little bit of housekeeping here in the office is to take a screwdriver and just carefully stuff the insulation that got pushed from the wall cavity into here. Put it back in place a little bit. And then honestly, what I need to do now is come up with a trim ring. Thankfully I have a 3D printer, so I'm going to model up a custom trim ring that'll seal against this pipe and against the wall, getting rid of this gap, because my hole saw was a 4.5 inch and it probably should not have been that large. All right, all of that installation is done, and it feels great and looks even better. I really was glad that it went as smooth as it did. Now what we get to do is set up this little station you see behind me, which consists of a small little work table purchased from Walmart. It's about 3 feet wide, maybe 20 inches deep. It's not very large because I'm working in a very small space here, but it is perfect for the UV printer or a laser or any other kind of equipment that I want to have in here. Assembly was a piece of cake like you would hope or expect with this, but once the table was put into place, I then was able to install my fume extraction system, which is an inline fan. I decided to purchase an AC Infinity brand inline fan for this install, and this is the first time I've actually used this name brand. Normally I go on Amazon and I find the absolute cheapest thing that fits because it's in a workshop. I don't care about the quality or the sound and stuff like that. As long as it moves air, I'm happy. Well, here in my home office where I will be working or my kids are sleeping on the other side of this wall, I needed a fan that was quiet but still would work. I didn't want to cheap out in here since this is a closed space and air quality is very important. So I decided to buy the AC Infinity. This fan has a lot of bells and whistles which I will not use. It has smart capabilities, Wi-Fi connections, and stuff like that. I got it for its quietness and high reviews. As far as the ducting, I'm using this black flexible pipe that came with the fan. I don't know how well it's going to last long term. Normally, I am a very big fan of the clear flex dust collection hose that you normally see in woodworking shops or in my own shop. But I decided to go with what they give to see how it turns out. It definitely looks really good since it is black. So aesthetically, it's very pleasing, but I don't care so much about aesthetics as much as I care about that the hose stays solid, intact, and doesn't get any pinholes. The kind of cheaper, flexible metal or aluminum piping that looks like this is usually notorious for getting pinholes and leaking. So if I have any kind of smells, any kind of problems in here, the hose is going to be the first thing that gets swapped out. Overall installation wasn't too bad. I was trying to be meticulous with the layout and keep everything organized and stuff like that. I also wanted to make sure that I was clear of the floor vent in here, which is also the reason why I have a table that I installed here rather than maybe a workbench with drawers or something like that. Got to have my heat and AC in here, so airflow is very important. Otherwise, a little bit of cable management here and there, zip tying the flex hose to the tabletop so it stays put even as I rotate the machine, and we're calling it done. So it looks great. It fits in here very well, although honestly, it's getting packed, but at least now I have a dedicated station for the UV printer or a laser or whatever I want. I now could have it here in this space. It really makes this not just a home office, but a maker space with the 3D printers over there, UV printer, a laser, and that's awesome. So if you got any questions or comments, leave them for me down below. There'll be links to the stuff that I use down there as well. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you're still here to the end, just know you're absolutely awesome. And to let me know you're awesome, leave me a comment that says, I'm venting. Otherwise, take care. I'll see you guys next time.